For decades, being great at multitasking was a badge of honor. It was your proof of hustle in a world built on busyness. But here is the trap. Brain science shows what we bought was mostly a myth. Multitasking is not mastery. It is constant context switching, and each leap quietly drains your focus and cripples results while leaving you convinced you are winning. So how did we all fall for it? And what is the real cost nobody told you about? Multitasking did not begin as a human trait. The word itself was born in the world of machines. In the mid-1960s, IBM engineers faced a technical problem: how to get the most out of expensive mainframes. Their answer was multitasking, a scheduling method that let a single computer rapidly switch between jobs, giving the illusion of simultaneous work. In the original manuals, multitasking meant the processor handled one instruction at a time, then jumped to the next program before the first one finished waiting for input. It was a clever trick, not true parallel action, just fast context switching, measured in milliseconds. By 1966, IBM's OS 360 documentation described this process as multitasking. Other systems, like Multics and early Unix, followed with similar designs. The mainframe era was obsessed with efficiency. Every idle second was wasted money, so engineers built systems that never stopped moving, always loading the next job the instant the last one paused. The word multitasking captured this relentless motion, but it belonged to machines, not people. For over a decade, the term stayed locked in technical circles. Computer magazines and business journals in the 1970s praised multitasking operating systems, not multitasking employees. The metaphor of a computer juggling jobs was powerful, but nobody claimed a person could perform like a CPU. Only later would the language of machine scheduling escape the lab and enter the office, setting the stage for a cultural leap that would redefine productivity and identity. By the early 1990s, the language of mainframes had slipped into the office. Job postings began to ask for something new: a strong multitasker. In classified ads and early online listings, the phrase appeared alongside demands for speed, composure, and the ability to handle a fast-paced environment. Receptionists, office managers, and junior professionals were told that juggling phones, emails, and walk-ins was not just part of the job, it was a selling point. The more hats you could wear, the more valuable you seemed. Management books and career guides of the era picked up the theme. They advised applicants to brand themselves as multitaskers, to highlight this trait in interviews and on resumes. The message was clear: if you could keep multiple projects in the air, you belonged in the modern workplace. Magazine profiles praised executives and working parents for their ability to handle everything at once, painting a picture of relentless motion as the new gold standard. The badge of busyness became a source of pride. It wasn't enough to do the work. You had to be seen doing many things at once. The word multitasker started to appear in performance reviews and self-evaluations, turning a technical scheduling trick into a marker of human potential. The more you switched, the more indispensable you seemed. But behind the applause, a silent cost was building, one that would soon be measured not in status, but in lost time and frayed attention. Inside the lab, the stopwatch doesn't lie. Dr. David Meyer and his colleagues at the University of Michigan set out to measure what really happens when people try to juggle tasks. Their experiments asked participants to switch between problems, solving math, then classifying shapes, then back again. Each time, the clock recorded a delay. The pattern was clear. Every switch, even between simple tasks, cost extra seconds. With more complex or unfamiliar tasks, the penalty grew larger. It wasn't just a minor pause. The cumulative effect could eat up to 40% of productive time in a day. Meyer described it as a hidden tax. Our brains simply do not have the capacity to handle multiple complex tasks simultaneously. When we engage in multitasking, our focus time becomes divided, and our cognitive resources are spread thin. As a result, we are unable to devote our full focus and concentration to any one task, leading to decreased efficiency and an increased chance of errors. In the controlled setting of the lab, the numbers told a stark story. People switching between tasks made more mistakes, and they took longer to finish than those who focused on one thing at a time. Even when the switch was predictable, the delay never vanished. Every jump required a mental reset, including the goal, the rules, and the next step. The stopwatch kept running, and the lost minutes piled up. The myth of efficiency faded under the cold light of measurement, replaced by a simple fact. Switching is expensive, and the bill always comes due. Sophie Leroy, a business psychologist, named the problem that lingers after every interruption. She called it residue. In her experiments in 2009, participants were asked to switch from one task to another, editing a document, then proofreading, or building a structure, then solving puzzles. The twist was simple. Sometimes the first task was left unfinished. When that happened, performance on the second task dropped sharply. People caught up in an incomplete task missed up to 30% more errors on the next one, even though they believed they had switched focus. Their own surveys told the story, minds stuck halfway out the door, unable to let go. This residue does not vanish when the screen changes or the meeting starts. It lingers, filling the mind with background noise. Leroy measured that mental drag. Participants reported higher preoccupation scores, sometimes double, when the previous task was left unresolved. The effect was not about difficulty, it was about closure. Only when the first task was finished did people regain full focus for what came next. In real-world terms, this means every time a message or notification pulls you away before you have wrapped up, the next thing you do will be foggier, slower, and more error-prone. The brain's working memory is still running the old script, leaving less capacity for the new one. Recovery is not instant. Studies suggest it can take 15 to 20 minutes to clear the mental residue and fully reload the new context. Multiply that by a dozen interruptions, and the day fills with invisible friction. The sticky mind effect is not just a feeling, it is a measurable cost built into the way attention works. Inside the world's most popular platforms, every ping, badge, and unread bubble is measured. The real scorecard is not your productivity, it is engagement. Companies like Facebook, Slack, and Microsoft Teams track daily active users, session counts, and crucially, how quickly you reply. Reply latency is logged as a sign of success, not interruption. Product teams run A/B tests on notification timing, badge color, and alert frequency, watching for any uptick in return visits or faster responses. The system rewards the apps that pull you back in the quickest, not the ones that let you focus. When a new message lands, the metric that matters is this: did you switch tasks right now? The business model thrives on these micro interruptions, turning your attention shifts into growth charts and quarterly wins. The more often you check in, the better the numbers look, no matter what it costs your focus. Clifford Nass, a Stanford professor, wanted to know what constant media juggling does to the mind. In 2009, he and colleagues E.L. Ofer and Anthony Wagner ran a study that divided people into heavy and light media multitaskers. The results defied every expectation. Heavy multitaskers, those who prided themselves on handling multiple streams at once, performed worse on tests that required filtering out distractions. They struggled to ignore irrelevant information, and their attention flickered toward anything new. Instead of becoming better at switching, their brains grew more reactive, less able to focus or filter. Nass described them as chronically distracted, unable to manage working memory. The danger wasn't just lost minutes, but a lasting rewiring, a habit of mind that made every ping and pop-up irresistible, training the brain to chase interruptions instead of depth. Today, tech platforms still optimize for your divided attention because every switch, every ping, means more engagement for them, but less real work for you. The cost is not just productivity, it is how you think. In a world engineered for distraction, protecting your focus is now an act of self-preservation.